For this year, I commit to deliberate restraint as a practice of self-mastery rather than deprivation. I will slow the movement from desire to ownership by introducing time, friction, and judgment before any purchase that enters my home. If I cannot clearly answer how a purchase reflects my values or needs, I will wait. I will choose fewer possessions so that my attention is less fragmented, my taste more refined, and my energy more available to what matters. In 2026, I am committing to a year of intentional and deliberate restraint. Think of it as a no-buy, but more focused on the why and what I intend to get out of it in terms of who it helps me become. Even though my life looks pretty calm and well-ordered from the outside, I've had the opportunity to realize that I'm actually living with a level of chronic, low-level anxiety day to day. And that comes from doing too much, owning too much, and surrounding myself with too much. Less is truly more. I realized I'm trying to do too much at once because my attention is often very fractured. And that makes me feel like I'm running behind, but also like I'm doing too many things at the same time, so I don't even know like what I'm supposed to be doing or aiming for, which also makes me feel more stressed out. Sometimes I scroll when I'm supposed to be writing. Sometimes I look at YouTube videos instead of building up sources that I need for journalism or reaching out to potential clients for marketing. And when I sit and think about it, it's just so rare that I am doing one thing and just solely focusing on that one thing. I've been thinking a lot lately about how your environment kind of gives you inputs as to what you should be thinking about and what is important, even if those inputs are very subconscious. And so I really want to make sure my environment is conducive to peace and paying attention and just sort of deepening focus. I've been reading a lot about and watching videos about things that people are not buying in 2026, people's shopping rules for 2026. And I find those things really inspiring because these are ways of people practicing restraint that will help them achieve whatever it is their long-term goals are. Some of the people I watch want to retire early, for example. Some of them want to just have the financial independence down the road to be able to become work optional, to decide whether they're going to work full-time at any given point in time. Some people just want the satisfaction of knowing that they have the ability to say no. And I find all of these things so inspiring, and I definitely want to take up this practice myself as well. Interestingly enough, I don't think that I shop too much. I'm sure that I shop more than I think. And so I think this challenge is going to show me that. I definitely shop more than I think, but I don't shop too much. I'm not overspending. We're able to save and pay our bills and all those things. But I realized that I spend a lot of time creating fantasies through material objects, and I'll explain. So I'll often pat myself on the back for not actually shopping, but still spend a ton of time browsing and dreaming about owning different things. If I drive by a thrift store, even if I have no plans to buy anything, even if there's nothing on my list that I want, I will stop and I will go inside the store and look through the store just in case, just to make sure there's not something I want. Or maybe I'll see an influencer using some sort of product or drop the name of a particular brand she loves to wear. And so I'll scroll through the brand's website. I'll look at all their clothing. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, it's made of natural fibers. Oh, it's so this, it's so that. I'll imagine myself wearing the clothes. I'll imagine myself feeling more elevated, more upscale, just better because I'm wearing these things. And then I'll get off the computer. And I'm just starting to realize this is such a big waste of my time, especially if I'm not planning to buy the things. Like, it's one thing if I'm actually open to acquiring these materials or if I actually have an interest in purchasing these things, but kind of doing all this browsing and knowing that I don't even want to make the purchase, why am I then still spending that amount of time looking through these objects? I don't think that is something I want to do. I want to be rooted in reality. If I'm browsing through something, I want it to be because I actually have a hope of acquiring the thing or I'm actually considering buying the thing, but not because I'm fantasizing about a life I don't have, and not because I'm fantasizing that the qualities this influencer has are things that I can attain by buying the same things that she has. So for example, I noticed that a big thorough thread in the people I follow online is that they're very disciplined. They have an air of like discipline, restraint. They're very choosy and selective. Those are all traits I want. Now, if I happen to know that she also owns this sweater from X particular brand, is buying that sweater going to help me become disciplined, selective, and someone who has high taste? So here's the exact loop that I go through. I'm tired and I want to rest. So instead of resting, which would be something like just doing a breathing exercise, literally taking 5 minutes and laying down, going on a walk, doing a short yoga flow, anything like that, simple and non-material, I hop on the internet. Once I'm online, I think about all these different women I admire for reasons I just explained. And then I hop on their individual accounts or even on their like affiliate link pages. I notice how polished their lives look. I look at and notice the things that they choose to decorate their homes with, what they choose to wear, how they choose to style themselves. I zoom in on the objects and I imagine those objects becoming a part of my life. Then I don't buy them, but I've given them my attention. And honestly, in some ways, I do find it worse than buying, because at least if I went through and bought the thing, I would be completing the cycle. But this is just ideating and fantasizing without making any concrete changes in my actual life. There's a line from St. John Cassian that stopped me cold. He's an Eastern Orthodox saint, and I'm going to post that quote up here. Super simple, but I think really the thought behind this whole video. The mind is shaped by those things which it frequently considers. I realized that I am shaping my mind with things that I don't even want to own. Why am I doing that? So this year isn't just about restricting how I spend money, although that will be a practical outcome of the year. It's primarily about where I put my time and attention and my heart, because as the Bible says, where your treasure is, there also your heart will be. So practically, here's what this looks like. I'm not going to buy new material objects that need to be stored in my home. I think the things I often overspend on are things related to like beauty, just like small beauty purchases. Maybe I'll see someone use a lip balm and so I'll buy the same one, things like that. We're cutting those. I am allowed to buy a few things that I put on a list like 6 months ago that I would like to have for this spring and fall. And those are a pair of loafers, socks, and tights. But other than that, the only like material beauty objects I'll be buying will be replacements of things that break or wear out. I will allow myself to purchase experiences, and I will allow myself to partake in my social life. So that means I'm not going to restrict things like going out for coffee, for example. By introducing these rules, and I'll post a picture on here so you can see them, I'm hoping to just introduce friction that allows me to have better control of and awareness of where my attention is going and why. Before, I was on a one-stop express train to I want it, I got it, I want it, I got it. Now we are introducing some questions and some time and some discernment so that the things that I own reflect who I'm becoming and who I want to be. In order to keep myself accountable, I'm going to return to the same 3 questions each month. Okay, I have 4 questions that I'll be answering, and these are based on some questions that other people put together, mainly an article from the New York Times that I'll link on values-based budgeting, and Ann Patchett, who is an author and bookstore owner, her own reflections on her no-buy year. The questions I'll return to monthly will be, is this purchase aligned with my values? Which value is it aligned with? Where did my attention leak into fantasy or impulse? And what did restraint make me more present to? I'm also planning to sit down and have a sort of money date with myself. This is something I hear a lot about on Break Your Budget, she always sits down and makes herself like a cute cafe-ish drink and goes through what she bought just so she understands and can categorize her purchases, and so that nothing is sort of coming to her as a surprise. I'm going to start doing that weekly, and I'll post updates online at least monthly showing where I succeeded, where I failed, what I bought, what I didn't buy, and why. My strategy in terms of character development and becoming someone who is holy is imitating people who are doing better than I am, right? And so I've noticed over time that the women who I really admire have a lot of restraint. They don't spend their money frivolously. They're able to think about what they want and make sure that the things that they are buying really reflect their values. They're people who save. They're people who choose carefully and are not pulled by every single beautiful thing they see. This is the posture I am taking up. So if you're doing something similar this year, maybe you're doing a no buy, maybe you're doing a low buy, maybe you just have different financial goals to kind of help shape your future finances, I would love to hear about them in the comments. I'll see you in the first monthly update.